Also share system audio. No. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Where is team? Wade was here a minute ago. Max is gonna be a couple minutes late. All right, make a game and see what happens. Do, do, do. It's been a while since I've been in here. See if I can remember what was going on. Andrew game on, yes. It seemed so promising, and then it actually didn't work when we went to multiplayer test. Well, it looks like there's only really one script that I was playing with, so merge-wise, that's probably fine, although it's Wade.
Oh.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Game Chat. They've changed the interface on me, so all is chaos. Yeah. The user controls for the old restream.
Oh, okay.
My light is down this week because I don't have a way to attach it to my new monitor, pending a trip, but yeah, what you get, stream. Yeah, so yeah, it's been a while since I played with this branch, but let's see if I can get the stupid thing working. Keep an eye out for Max. Sometimes I don't notice when people jump in the waiting room.
Sure. I'm just testing something out with work before I switch over.
What the?
Oh.
It's Max.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Game Dev Chat.
It's my first time using my camera and microphone since I got my computer. I may have used my microphone once, but just making sure everything's set up all right.
You sound very hollow.
Oh, let me switch my mic.
Wrong mic.
There we go. That should be better.
Nice.
better.
Oh, cat cam, cat cam, cat cam.
My cam microphone. Blurry cat.
What the? Censored.
What's going on, Maple?
NSF stream.
A decent version.
Yeah.
Did I have a permanent dog last time? Last time we did this?
Did you what now?
Have a permanent dog?
I don't think so.
Because I have a permanent dog now.
Yeah, but we only want cats.
It's a cute dog.
I think the last time we were all on, maybe I didn't have. I think a second monitor had died.
You did mention that.
So I don't think we. I think we just did Discord rather than stream.
Oh.
You're purring. Unless that's Wade.
Nope.
It has that microphone taste.
We had like full on like ASMR cat rub.
What?
Aww.
You just want to be included. It's all you ever want. And I believe I've got all of my Unity and Git stuff set up correctly. But this will be my first real launch of
I
Unity.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Since the upgrade.
Good luck.
Thanks. It should work. I've been messing with a lot of things, getting everything reinstalled and making sure I got my files copied over. So I believe I got it all right. I haven't really had any issues. Well, I guess we'll see. One of my hard drives, I think one of the cables connecting it is shot. Sometimes it shows up as a hard drive connected, and sometimes it's just not there at all.
Seems like someone forgot to charge my headset.
Oh no.
It's gonna be one of those sessions, isn't it? I know, I think it was Wade. Pretty sure it was Wade.
Darn it, Wade.
Alright, I'll be right back. I think the adapter's in the other room. Just explains part of it. Entertain the stream.
Do you guys hear a beeping?
That's my fault. There's a beeping when I have it set up so when I mute my mic it beeps at me so I don't forget. But it shouldn't be going to you guys.
Wasn't a big deal, I was just curious.
Well, it makes me think my settings are not doing what I think they're doing. So you guys have my system and my microphone, let me poke it again.
Yeah, I still hear it.
Same.
I know what happened. Why did I decide to do that? Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I have another mute button. You guys want to hear an exciting story of something disappointing that Apple did?
Sure.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
It is relevant to the headset charging situation. So, Apple has their new budget phone, right? 16E or something.
Okay.
And then it came time for me to upgrade my phone, and I thought, I will try that out. I like budget things. I don't need a million cameras on my phone. And it's time for a new phone. And I set it all up, and it came, and I think I might have even told you guys about the fancy case I got. And then the phone came before the case did. And then eventually the case came, and then I put the phone in the case, and everything's good. So one of the things, I guess they saved on budget a little bit by not including the charger with the phone.
Oh yeah. I heard of that.
Oh, that's disappointing.
So, I mean, I had a USB-C charger for my Oculus headset, but I've been sharing it. It travels around with the device that I need to charge. Yeah, that's the whole story. So I must have screwed up the logistics or left this thing on or something. Sometimes I think after it installs an update, it decides it's not really going to shut down.
Yeah, I do have that issue both with my headset and my controllers on the Quest 3 at least, is that even if I feel like I've got it all put away correctly and not draining battery, I'll still come back and it'll be dead. But then sometimes I'll leave it turned on and just on my desk, and I'll come back a long time later and it still has perfect battery life. So it's I've been trying to figure out what seems to cause that. Maybe if it's in a place where the desk gets bumped and it thinks that it's moved and it turns back on, it power cycles too often. But
It was maybe your internet, or maybe cat cam.
cat cam number
Maybe
2.
Unity taking over all my system resources.
The big boy. Friend. Hi, Tux. How you doing?
Cat
Get some
cam.
purrs.
Okay. So this thing was driving me crazy before. On awake. Toggle game rules true. Unsubscribe from previous model. That makes sense. Current model is a fresh model, populated from local. Otherwise,
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna try a light bake on my new, like using the new computer on like a test scene and see if it caps out my CPU. I'm also gonna try the GPU light mapper instead. So if I freeze for a second, that's why.
yep.
But I'm hoping with everything being new and upgraded, I won't really have to freeze. Maybe I should pull up my task manager.
So do we want to do this? I mean, this will. Do.
I'm gonna plug my headset in just in case it is dead like yours. One sec.
Oh, I like that. I didn't know this. I didn't know this software did this. Oh, of course it does. I
Did what?
wanted to add. Well, I wanted to add an event for real-time did connect to room, and I said press tab to add event, and I'm like, really? I pressed tab, and it named it, and it like created a stub for it with not implemented. But like in the past, I've always had to go digging for what the heck is the signature of this procedure, right? Was that just me? Did everyone else know about this?
No, but what?
Just tab, and it created the it created delegate for me.
Oh, really?
Correct signature, yeah.
I know there's a decent amount of like handy little features that are supposed to make things quicker, but I always have a hard time keeping track of when are they actually useful versus when are they doing their best approximation and just make things harder because they don't use the same like syntax that you're used to using, as an example.
That is a good point.
Well, so far, I mean, I haven't had, it's been in a lighting lab, so it's not been like complex. But my first 3 or 4 bakes have all taken less than 5 seconds. Which
Really?
is amazing. Like I said, it was like a light lab, so it's hard to tell whether it's just because there's only like a dozen objects in the scene.
There's no light. No light source.
Yeah, I have a directional light, a couple emissive materials, and I dropped a lantern into a corner. So I'm just trying to get a feel for like how well does it work, how quick. Yeah, so I doubled the quality on this one, and the total bake time was only 33 seconds. And I
It's
guess
too
I
long. Get a new computer.
Looks like you're doing the bakes for now.
Let's see. Here we go. I can share my tab just to show.
Let's see, how do I allow that? My screen is sharing. There's Max's screen.
So nothing too crazy. I just put up some different walls. I think the directional light is coming from, oh, it's all the way up there. So it's kind of shining down this way. Let me,
It doesn't look like you have a lot of verts though.
no, again, there's not like a ton of complexity to the scene, but the fact that like it's getting some of this pink of the emissive material, same with the green. I was trying to see how the light would cast between transparent things, and it, good enough. This one doesn't seem to do a whole lot in terms of casting emissive material, but and then the lantern in here. kind of lights things up pretty well.
It's definitely baked.
Yeah. Generate one more time and see if the directional light very much. There we go. Yep, 27 seconds.
Nice. You should commit that and I'll load it up and see how long it takes me to bake it.
Go. It's trying to get me to upload all of like the light maps and reflection probes as well. I might leave those out just to save on upload. Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and commit that and push it up to main. That's just in the under labs, it's lighting. And the other one would be testing going to, I think New Western has like everything that it needs. We've done a light bake on Western before, right?
Yeah.
A Western lake bait? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I should be good for a light bake on this one. Let me give it a try.
Sorry, what branch was that?
Should just be main. Let me check. Yeah, I just pushed it up. Light lab testing
Very cool.
was the commit name. Man, the one thing that I wish for light baking, I wish there was like a consistent like example for low, medium, high level settings.
Yeah.
The main issue that I have is, you look that up and the majority of the time people just say, well, it really depends on the scene, which understandable, but also that's the most they say. They're not like, oh yeah, we find for low complexity scenes, you start here and like this is a good range. like you just don't even get that kind of info, so you're left kind of guessing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are my indirect samples way too high, or is it half as much as it should be, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying a light bake on Western, so I'm gonna go refill my water while it does this. I will be right back.
What was that?
System sounds. Just a
Is it on your
couple.
side?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
Because I didn't share system audio when I shared my screen. I have my mixer mixing the game audio into my microphone.
I thought it was on my side for some reason. That's
I
why
know
like,
it would sound like that. I didn't think of that. But when I run the game and stuff, it's cool if the audio goes to stream.
All right, so his light scene is in the lobby, right? Yeah. Or sorry, not lobby. Anyway.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, so I have your scene loaded. And I'm assuming the lighting settings are this. Was it set to riot lighting?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and progressive GPU. All right, generate lighting.
Yeah, and this light bake is definitely taking more in the realm of what I would expect it to. But it doesn't look like it's maxing out my GPU or CPU, which is nice.
Oh, mine says, oh, it's still going. No light maps. All right. Preparing bake. mean, mine's still preparing bake, so I don't know if that means anything.
Yeah, mine seemed to load pretty quick, but yeah, but it looks like it's going to take closer to like 8 minutes as opposed to 30 minutes to 3 hours,
Right.
which is definitely an improvement.
Am I missing cat cam somewhere? I think I am.
She's making noises.
What happened? I clicked the wrong thing. Oh, this is too hard. Games are too hard.
What do you have to say? Yeah. Good job.
Cat cam.
Ah,
Cam.
Anything else? Anything else?
Oh, restricted.
Cat, 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 cat.
Oh, cool. So just finished the light bake at little under 8.5 minutes.
Does it tell you how long it took?
Yeah, when it's done, it'll say total bake time. And then it looks like it fully completed with the GPU instead of crashing, which is always a plus. I feel like... So the cave overall looks pretty good, but it looks like some of these shadows are like super pixelated. I'm not quite sure why.
Isn't Isn't it like shadow resolution or something like that?
Yeah.
Yours was set to riot later. Like mine is taking forever.
Yeah, it was. I know the Western is using the spooky light settings, but
I'm just doing the lab lighting.
yeah. Yeah, and that one was using the riot lighting settings. So
And
that's
nothing
odd.
was changing those. Like it is
No, not that
very
I can
slow.
tell.
Light map size is 4096. Compression is high quality. Anyway. Like it still hasn't started. It's still at 0%.
Oh, that's
This is,
odd.
yeah.
Still have cat cam on. Sorry, Max.
Oh, you're fine. She's technically still here, just
Coding
hiding.
away. All right, you can tell it's been a couple weeks since I've really done code. When a mono behavior is destroyed, does it always call disable?
Um, yes, I believe so.
So that's the place to unsubscribe from everything, right?
Yeah, from my understanding, I was always putting subscribe and unsubscribe in on enable and on disable.
Okay, I have things on destroy, which is not necessarily the best
Which
place.
it does work when that object is destroyed, but if you like turn it off, for instance,
Yeah.
it just depends on whether you want that object to still be receiving those or not.
3 minutes left. 1 minute left. 39, 7.
You could do it.
I actually went and closed a whole bunch of tabs and stuff like that. I wonder
Oh,
if
yeah.
that was like.
Yeah, I'm sad that I even have to have Chrome open when I'm trying to do Unity because it just hogs a ton of memory.
It
Yeah, I
finished.
was noticing that too. Yeah, so that seems like it took a decent chunk of time.
12 minutes.
Oh, wow.
How long did yours take?
33 seconds.
Yeah.
Hmm.
About 30 seconds, give or take. And then were you using CPU or GPU?
GPU.
Okay.
I don't see how it would be that much long. It should not have taken that much longer. Can you show me your settings for that? Your lighting settings for that?
Yeah, let me finish this one.
Sure.
I should have about 30 seconds
I
left.
can share screen max if you want.
Sure. Yeah.
He's just finishing something.
Yeah, but that
Oh, okay. So
if we don't want to go to Discord, then that is the screen share mechanism.
I like these transparent cubes, or
Yeah.
almost transparent, reflective cubes.
All right. How are you doing, battery? Battery, she is 37%. Not the worst.
Okay. That looks better. It looks like part of the reason the shadows were looking so funny was because it was using mixed and real-time lighting for the directional light. And for some reason it was trying to do baked and real-time, but because of that, it seems like the real-time was overriding the baked, so it wasn't really baking any of the directional lights.
So does that
So
mean
for
our
being-
avatars and hands won't have reflections anymore, or shadows anymore?
At least from this bake, yes. I would
think
be
that's
curious.
probably fine, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be curious what would happen if we did 2 directional lights, both pointing the same direction, and made one baked and baked using it, and then enabled another that was purely real time. I wonder if we could get the lighting to bake while still allowing real-time lighting over the top of it. Because overall, I'd say this bake looks pretty good. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's a little low res compared to what like a final bake would be, but I also did the whole bake in a minute and a half, which is
That's
pretty
awesome.
good for being a low res full level light bake.
Yeah, to be able to iterate builds and
Yeah, test changes. So like
yeah, and have them
I
still be
noticed from here that like
reasonably
the little
presentable.
light that hangs over the ball returns doesn't actually have a point light on it. So
That's a bug.
it's just nice to know that like we can fly through and we don't have to wait a couple hours to test some light changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me switch over real quick way to show you my lighting settings.
I think we need. How do I hide people's faces just so I can see what you're showing?
Oh, I pulled it over on the left because I
Okay, I
know
see.
it's hidden,
Right.
but and let me make sure. Yeah, right lighting.
What's the?
Hey.
Oh yeah, 1, 0. Light map. What's on? Okay.
Okay, here I go.
Big global shadow mask. What's your under like? So there's directional mode, and then is there anything underneath that like albedo boost? Oh, there we go. 110. Wait, 11 default medium. Man, I don't know what the hell. Let me try generating again. Now it's generating fast.
I wonder
It's
if
already
the
there.
yeah, I was gonna say I wonder if the first time you do it, it takes a lot longer, and the second time it does like a comparison of sorts and says like, oh, all of these settings are the same, so we'll just copy paste them, and then only recalculate certain things.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm like definitely expecting it to take longer than yours did, just not. That's an
Yeah,
order of magnitude longer.
yeah, like considerably.
And
30
that's
seconds versus
finalizing.
12 minutes. Well, and that's the thing is like if we can get, I'm fine with anything less than about 5 minutes is
Yeah.
like a reasonable light bake time. You know, hit light bake, go grab some water, you know, bio break, whatever. um,
So it finished. 51 seconds.
okay, that's much more reasonable.
Must be that initial bake. All right. All right. I've wasted enough time. What's this up? And
All right. What? Got it. Oh, is the music too loud for you guys?
No, I wouldn't
Game
say it's too
sound?
loud. I can hear it, but definitely not overpowering.
Forgot to ask. I just fired it up.
It's kind of cool to hear you moving between like the lobby and then spooky and hearing the music change.
And then grunt is the debug. Disconnected from spooky. What? Okay, connected to spooky. So what happened here around this time? A bunch of breakables. Okay, so got rule sets, got avatar manager. Okay, real-time model replaced. Moving player turn, score change subscribers. Current models now. Adding player turn, score change subscribers. Um, Connected from lobby. That makes sense. I feel like this already happened though. How do you force recompile of your VS Code? Because this seems to be missing some code, some... Wait. No, hold on.
Force recompile what? Sorry.
No, don't worry about it. I think it just happened later than I thought.
Okay.
Enable. So that did this. Then interesting. So very interesting. Huh. Why is it hitting this so many times?
So every once in a while, I'll use ChatGPT to like get me started on figuring out how to tackle certain problems, like debugging stuff. I don't usually rely on it for generating code so much, but pointing me in the right direction. And so I'm trying to kind of figure out like the bowling ball. Like sometimes when you throw it, it like launches super far. So
Yeah.
I gave that little prompt and tried to guide it to maybe give me some insight on where to start looking. And its first response was, the classic VR bowling ball of doom rocket ship emoji.
Really?
And I'm like, I don't think that's a common problem, but it's acting like it is. It's just funny.
What if it is? What if they have a solution for it?
Maybe they give a few likely causes, and some of them are less relevant than others. Like this one is like, oh, make sure you're always calculating the velocity in world space, not local space. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that would be more of a problem if we had wrote the physics engine, but it's just using Unity's default like VR handling.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't imagine that would be an issue, but like this one, sometimes they try and add smoothing or prediction to controller tracking. That could do it. Maybe adding like a max velocity when you release, just to ensure that no matter what, it will never get thrown too hard, which is a solution. I wouldn't expect anybody at a real bowling alley to throw the ball much faster than like, what, 30 miles an hour or something. I think the fastest I've ever gotten was like 25, and you really have to chuck it to get that.
Oh.
Huh. I do. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. There we go. Do, 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 do. Okay. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,004, 1,005, 1,000. Join game. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Game has not been started. So weird. Why not? Why ever not? Current turn player number is 1. No rule set is enabled. But that is not true.
Name M owned by player number. Oh. Ow. Okay, let's see here.
This must be fun for people at home to watch. we just like straight coded for like 15 minutes. It was more interesting when we were doing like extreme coding.
Yeah.
Remember, like, let's figure out this thing.
Also, I'm sure we'd be a lot more interactive if people were on and like asking questions.
It might be. I haven't really looked at chat in about half an hour.
I try and keep an eye on at least the restream chat. So if anything comes through that way, I should at least notice.
That should come from
Yeah.
everywhere. Like,
Yeah, I try and keep an eye on that on one window just in case.
right on.
Also, I noticed something interesting. Not really a bug at all, just unique. In the scene where I'm testing like the velocity throwing the ball, I had like that trail renderer, kind of showing
Yeah.
the path it takes. Well, your kind of highlight script, Wade, that when you hover over it and it like
Yeah.
highlights the ball,
Yeah.
it also highlights the trail.
Oh, really?
So the trail also has like a little yellow glow on the outside of it. Again, not problematic. I was like, oh, interesting.
I wonder if we need to
Sure.
think about that though.
Again, it may be if we get to the point where we're actively trying to use like trail renderers, but
Mhm.
I don't think it's really problematic.
Do-do-do-do-do.
I feel like spawn playable. I think there's an issue with the way that I'm doing the spawn playable object, because technically I'm spawning a bowling ball. But I'm saying if the prefab name is ball return, the ball return would never. I can spawn from a ball return, but what we're spawning is a bowling ball, not a ball return.
Correct.
And I'm trying to set it so it's like where am I spawning this thing from? I guess it's taking a string and a vector 3. I gotta change it so that there's another spawner birds, big bird, spawn playable from prefab. Right?
Say that again?
So instead of just spawning a ball, I need to spawn playable from a prefab. So that way when I spawn the ball, I can actually set what prefab I'm spawning it from in terms of relative location.
Yes. The only other thing I could think would be So if you spawn the ball from a prefab, are you telling it where to spawn that in that script, or is it spawning it just nearby?
Well, we are passing in a location. So I'm just thinking of where there's player event caller. That's not what's going to call this. It'll be. I'm trying to think of what would actually call it. Like I've got the ball return.
Yeah, because I feel like one of the simplest ways to do that is if it's already passing a location when you're spawning the ball, you would want to grab the location of where you want it spawned and pass that in the function that's telling it like where, like.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out now.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like, yeah, it's yes, I don't think I need to add in a separate, like if the prefab name is ball return, that doesn't matter. It's spawning in a ball, but the problem is just where am I passing in this? Where am I calling the spawn ball from?
Yeah.
In
No, I
which
see
I
the
can get
issue.
the
It
ball
can be
return.
it could be literally. So you have a ball return, right?
Mhm,
And you have an event,
mhm,
and you have a location.
mhm.
So when the event happens,
I
call.
don't have the location yet, though. That's the part I'm trying to figure out. Where
Why
am I?
don't you have the location though?
It's not that I don't have one. It's that I haven't figured out where to spawn, where to put the script so that the script can say, okay, grab this object and the location is relative to this point in the object, spawn a ball.
So so you can pick any location relative to your, like you've got a ball return object, right?
Yeah.
So you can drop a child object on it at the exact position that you want to spawn the ball.
I was just thinking that. And then I could just say, look at the position of
And
that.
yeah, that thing is all it is the where the ball should spawn object, right?
Yeah. And
And
then
you get the world transform off of that and pass it to the
that makes more
spawn function.
that makes more sense because then it wouldn't matter if we have different types of ball returns.
They all have
They all just need to have
their
that
like
little
ball
spawn
spawn
point.
location, yeah. Or your script could also just have a position on it, a relative
Yeah.
position on it. But
I'd rather
think
put
it-
in it.
I-
I think it makes more sense to put a little spot on the object with the position.
yeah,
Yeah, and like I know at least when I was first doing the ball return back on like the early prototypes, I had an empty game object, and the only thing that game object contained was a like location.
position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like position, like the transform value, and then
Mhm.
you just grab that as like the like retitle it like ball spawn position or something, and then
Right.
you can just grab the transform of that location instead of the ball return itself. It's just like a child of the ball return to grab the
Yeah.
specific location. But yeah, I see kind of where you have to know when the ball is like when that event is being triggered to spawn the ball, grab that position first from whatever relevant in like data you have, like the lane, so to speak,
Mm.
um, and then pass that along.
I think it makes more sense to do that. And then also I can maybe modify the event to say if I wanted to add any velocity to the ball so that if I wanted to shoot it up so it goes up and comes around and then out or something like that. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I just wanted to figure out, yeah, that makes sense. Just put a spot in the actual object itself.
And then your script could have a parameter for which lane number is this,
Yeah.
which on the prefab doesn't make a ton of sense, but once we start dropping them in levels, then that gets saved as level data, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Ball return Western. I'm going to explode it.
Model added, connecting to room. Connected to room. Did connect to room. Toggle game rules false. What? What? Is it this whole time was I just super dumb?
Possibly.
Honestly, for me, that's the ideal situation.
In a way.
Because it's like, if I'm just being dumb, well, that's an easy enough fix. Well,
Do you want us? Do you know what? See, here's what I'm kind of looking at though. So I put a ton of trace. Wait, you sound like you need a break, Max. You sound like you need a break. So, so multiplayer game state object, right? Our story begins about here. It wakes up, get the avatar manager, get avatar subscriptions, get a subscription to real-time did connect, right? And then the models start being replaced. So this is a new model, so we don't have a model, so do that stuff. And then ignore this. This is all some other object, and these are all a bunch of, I don't even know what this is. Breakable debug code. Okay. Then we get our did connect to room. I don't think we ever got our our model from the server. Real-time model replaced, current model is null. Added our subscribers. So we connected to the room event before we got server data for that. Is that possible?
it might not
And
be
then-
anything. It looks like there was
Go ahead.
like an error if you scroll down just a little bit.
That's okay. That's fine. This
Okay, cool.
is a RT session players object, right?
Cool.
Which
Just
I do
making
need to work on, but you know it's on my list, but it's not at the top of my list.
Yeah.
But it's just like avatar created is way down here after connected to room, and in the docs, connected to room is supposed to happen after
After
all
the avatar.
after all your real-time objects have been instantiated, right? It's like, okay, we've updated all the models, and now you get your connected to room state, right? And that's just doesn't seem to be what happened here, at least with the avatar created events.
How are those triggering at like the same? Looks like the same timestamp in terms of. Yeah, all of this is happening almost the same time. I wonder.
Yeah, but
I wonder if it would be worth.
if we're saying like when do we see what my client ID is and start the game if I'm player one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder, is there, if I'm loading into a multiplayer room, just as an example, if I have to wait an extra 1 second to get in to guarantee that everything is working, I'm fine with that. I wonder if you can say,
I have a 2-second delay on like start the game, but
in
that
terms
has
of
to
like
happen-
avatar created first and then connect to room, like can you ensure that they happen in a given order?
I think what I'm going to do is create a coroutine that waits for everything to be ready.
Yeah.
Right? It's just going to like keep checking do we have these 3 things, right?
Yeah,
Until
until
we
those
do.
things are ready, just
Yeah.
don't move on.
Keep checking.
Yeah, because the only thing worse than sitting on a loading screen waiting to get into a multiplayer room is getting in that room right away and having everything be broken. So if it means waiting an extra second, 5 seconds, even for now, 30 seconds, whatever that time is, like, that's worth it for us to ensure that that is definitely the problem and that things are triggering in the right order.
Yeah,
I don't
but I
foresee
mean, I
it
do.
being that long of a wait, but
It just seems like the whole like model being replaced thing. They've got one event for it that does a bunch of different things, like the original initialization, and then how is current model not like still?
so where it
So
says
part of
current
it-
model, is that the same as, two above that when it says real-time model? Or is the current model the avatar?
These are different objects.
Okay.
These are whole different objects. Like they happen to be trying to listen for similar things, for historical reasons. But this is like, I think this also, when you leave a level, this gets hit. It's hard to tell. Like, is this the one that's getting? Like, is this the lobby one, or is this the spooky one?
Is there a way to clarify that in that log? Like when it says,
I don't know.
real-time model replaced.
I don't know. If so, say I'm here. If I'm in my game object, does a game object have a reference to which level it lives in, or which scene it lives in?
I would imagine so.
I would
'Cause, I
imagine
mean,
so too.
If you can async load different levels, wouldn't it have to know that kind of information to ensure that when it like unloads a previous level that you're not unloading different objects? I would imagine. Let me see. I might be able to find that answer pretty quick. And is it a game object that you're trying to figure out?
I mean,
What?
not really. It's a mono behavior, but it's in a game object, right?
Yeah.
This dot game object dot scene. Oh, okay. There is a reference to scene. Scene that the game object is part of. Yeah, thanks. I got it, Max.
Okay, perfect.
So I will put that in and see if that makes sense. It's gonna be, what's crazy though, when I'm loading the lobby, it's literally unloading and loading the same scene, right? Which is probably adding to the chaos. It's like
On a
loading the
separate-
same scene, but within a new
Oh yeah.
real-time room.
So I've been messing around with the issue of like throwing a ball and having it super throw. And I've been recording some of the magnitudes, and in this last session, I threw the ball a total of 6 times forward. And pretty much every single time, it felt like it was thrown with the same velocity. Whether I threw it hard or like super soft, it like launched it forward. But when I recorded the velocity, like the magnitude of where it's thrown, I got it ranging anywhere from a magnitude of 0.007 all the way up to a magnitude of 7.
So a factor
And
of the minor difference.
yeah, and that would be the difference between my first throw of like barely letting go and the second one of like really throwing it. Would explain that difference in magnitude for sure. What doesn't make sense is both of those throws felt like they were super launched. So, and even weirder is when I clamp the velocity and I clamp it to like a magnitude of 1, regardless of whether I barely throw it or super throw it, like as hard as I can, when it super launches, it does so at the same velocity, even if that magnitude is being clamped. So it seems like there's something going on that regardless of what happens after you throw the ball, it's like it's setting it to an absolute value and then throwing it at that speed, regardless of what that magnitude actually is of the throw. Which is really interesting. I guess that kind of points us in the right direction of it's not an issue of, oh, if you throw it facing a specific direction, the magnitude gets multiplied by ×2 or something like that. It seems like it's capping it. So like every time you get that super throw, regardless of whether you've thrown soft or hard, it always seems to launch at the same speed. And that does seem to track with what at least I've experienced in the past with those super throws. They always seem to throw at the same velocity regardless.
Hard to tell. It's like,
It is. When it's going that fast, it's difficult
yeah.
to know whether it's going, 15 or 16 magnitude, but that's what I was trying to do by recording these, and it seems like it doesn't matter. When it super throws, it does it regardless of what that magnitude actually is on throw, which is interesting. My first throw, the velocity in terms of XYZ was 0, 0, negative 0.01. So that's about as close as you can get to just like letting go of the ball as you can get, and it still like launched it. So something's weird there. Sounds like my partner just got home, so I'm gonna go say hi, but I will be right back.
Okay.
Shoot, where is the thing that calls the function spawn playable prefab? Oh, it must be. That must be attached to an object. That is. Okay, never mind. Where is the code that I just changed? There we go. Do we have the debug that log message in a central spot, so we don't have to keep adding private void log string log message debug.log message?
I kind of purposefully don't put it in a central location. I usually add a function to the script I'm working on,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a log function,
Right.
and I also add a parameter of whether to spam or not. Right.
Oh, okay.
So while I'm working on that object, I enable or disable whether that function is going to log or not. But like if you look at my screen, I'm calling spam everywhere, right? So spam, and if I drill into spam, it is if do spam debug log spam, right? So
Right.
it's a couple characters shorter to type, but also it doesn't fill up the log. unless this attribute is set either in the editor or because I'm working on this now on awake, I set spam to true, right?
Right.
But I'm working on this object. I want to see all the spam. But then,
Okay.
like, unless we're troubleshooting it, yeah, I purposefully didn't really centralize it.
Okay.
There may be a better way to do that, but anyway. Okay, game on is false.
I'm gonna get my controllers through.
Toggle use game rules. Did continue. Aha. What if I do this? It's me. It might be I just confused myself with this.
Oh.
All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Be right back.
All right. Oh.
lived. Meow, 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 meow.
Where's it saying that?
Oh. Game claims. Game claims a game is happening.
Okay, I'm back.
Hello, back. I'm dead.
When something says object of type ball return, is that the? I wonder if that. Oh shit! It says you're trying to access an object of type ball return, but it's already been destroyed. And that I'm assuming is the. I created the ball return and then added it in as a dragged it into the script as a parameter or a property.
Oh, if it can't access that exact ball return, I don't
guess.
think
Oh,
it works.
but maybe it's doing that on a different ball return because there's another ball return, right? But I've added it to the prefab though.
Yeah, I think it just doesn't know which instance of that ball return to add. So you either have to add that specific object, not like the prefab,
I have a
or you
question.
have to, through script, grab one of
I have
them in that
I have a
list.
question.
Yeah.
Shouldn't your script be on the ball return?
It is.
So you don't need to drag a reference to the ball return. You just need to drag a
Oh, it's not a
reference.
direct reference to the ball return. It's a reference to the spawn location on the ball
Yeah.
return.
Spawn location
But-
on the ball return should be.
You should
Yeah,
be
it
able to
should be
grab
able to
that
find that.
Just a heads
dynamic.
up, I
Did you
can't
do
hear
it-
you because it immediately went into.
Oculus speakers. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
All right, now I can hear you.
Okay. So
Yeah, you should be
it-
able to grab that like object
object.
dynamically through the script as opposed to adding a parameter.
You could.
Um,
You
Oh
should
yeah,
be
I
able to
could.
do it
I
as a
just,
parameter too.
I just figured it might be easier.
Yeah, you should be
Yeah.
able to use this as a parameter too, but you have to make sure you open the parameter and drop on the, open the prefab. Like if you dropped in kind of like
Oh, they didn't drop it
if
in
that
the right.
if
Gotcha.
that game object lives in the level,
Yeah.
then it messes things up if you are trying to have it just be like
Well, what I did was
reference within the prefab.
hold on. Maybe I didn't. I did overrides.
Yeah, so
And I
overrides
did
live
apply
in the
all.
level.
Well, then I did
mean, that-
apply. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so maybe when you did apply all, it was after you dropped your reference of your instance into the parameter. That makes any
perhaps.
sense?
Yeah, it's possible. Well, let me open up. Now I just did apply all again, so it might be. Yeah, you're right. You're probably right. I probably did it correctly. So let me just check that the main prefab and see if it's now showing a change.
This is the stuff that is just like kind of so finicky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now I'm looking at the main prefab and I see spawn location, the thing that I did. So maybe that's all it was. Let me try again. Is he launching? What the hell is going on here? Oh, I hit that stupid.
This is awesome. In a second, all three of us are going to be in our headsets.
Nothing
Yeah,
better
almost
than
as good as Cat Cam.
joining a stream and watching three guys playing VR.
We could be watching anything in these headsets. Meow, 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 meow. I turned off my game sound for the stream because I thought it would annoy the crap out of you guys if you're also in level. Alright, here we go. Dude. La, la, la.
That's so bizarre. So I log the first, like the magnitude of the ball when I release it, and then I record it every frame after that. And I'm getting this weird thing where it's like, okay, on release, the magnitude is 3. The next frame, the magnitude is 3, which tracks. And then the frame after that, the magnitude is 15. How does the magnitude after throwing continue to increase for like 10 frames after that before it starts to decrease again?
Questions, Max?
More just thinking out loud. It's just so weird.
I did a thing. Da-da-da-da-da. Who remembers where you set if you're trying to run multiplayer on the same machine?
I don't remember.
You need an appendix on your player. Debug, append to UID.
This thing's crashed.
Optimistic. I was optimistic for a minute. Oh, now I have
Battery 17% charged.
All right.
left controller battery low. No. Why is this so hard, guys? There's always something. Literally always something.
For real.
All right. Meanwhile,
I just gave
Show
ChatGPT an
me-
update about what's going on, and it responded with "Nice detective work." Thanks, ChatGPT.
oh my gosh, I'm player 2. I can hear myself. This crazy echo. That as well.
I don't think I
Oh,
hear
this
the
is
echo.
this is kind of surreal. Oh, sadly, the people at home can't hear this or can't see this because I'm waving at myself. I've got the game in 2 monitors at the same time. That's fine. The real important thing is, let's see, can I switch back to this one? Oh yeah, there I am. Oh, I'm a ugly bald human. Makes me sad. All right, spawn object, spawn ball, pick up ball, deliver ball. Player two's tunes. I can't speak when I'm echoing. And I have to hit escape. So I cannot highlight player one's ball. Okay, we might have a game start event. Oh, that was total chaos. Okay. I'm gonna take about 10 minutes to get some food and recharge batteries. Then I'm gonna push this to my work in progress branch, and I wouldn't mind to do an actual multiplayer Windows test with someone
Yeah.
to before I push it to main. But I think I want to merge and push this, and then so I can try and build a better event for Wade on top of it, which would be, you know, my first turn at the new bowl event. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Cool.
I didn't hear anything from Wade, and looks like he's deep in VR. So you could let him know if you hear him say something. That,
Yeah, I'll let him know.
I went to the kitchen and the battery drawer. Thank you.
Yeah.
course. Oh, I see. No. What? Man, I'm still getting that error message.
That's weird. I think you might have had the headset on. Andrew said that he was grabbing some food real quick. Should be back in a few minutes, and maybe wants to do a multiplayer test at some point
Right.
after that.
Cool.
Just as a heads up.
I mean, I see it there. I don't understand what's going on here. There should be no. So if I go to the Western, this is so stupid. This is the part that frustrates me because I feel like I should be able to get past this stupid error message and not have to worry about it.
Did I miss something?
Nope.
I heard you talking about stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Not-
just saying
not
this is frustrating that I'm still getting this stupid error message.
Bully ball dev.
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember the day I almost rage quit?
Yes.
Were you here for that, Max, or was it just Julian and? I think it was
I
just
think I was
Julian and
here.
Wade.
Well, I guess it depends on the level
One of
of
the times.
rage quitting. Been there.
I was almost like, why am I making a game? Why am I doing this
Why
to
am I
myself?
doing this? Yeah.
It's like learned helplessness.
How can I? Maybe I should just delete this ball return and drag the prefab back up.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I see. So there's another. That's weird. I can see another one that has an issue with. Oh, it's got two ball return scripts on it. And delete this and recreate it. That might be causing the issue.
We probably both don't have the same setting for that value, right?
Yeah. Well, one of them had the spawn location, the other one didn't. The one that didn't was one that was somewhere else in the level. So it must have been modified. Anyway.
Did Max tell you that I'm just about ready for a multiplayer test?
Yep. I'm good whenever.
So, well, I need a volunteer to pull my my branch again, which is probably not ideal for either of you guys, right?
Well, I can just stash my changes.
Do you still have a local copy of the Andrew Game On branch?
Probably.
Okay. Well, let me just verify my change here. And then if I think it's okay, then I'll give it a try.
It looked like Max was swinging at flies or something.
Swinging around. Trying to throw the balls without punching a monitor. But that was good. I basically just turned off the XR grab interactables like default throw and just used my own like very basic velocity estimator script. And I have not been able to get it to do that super throw since then.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
So that's good. it's still clamping the max throw speed, but so far, out of all of the throws I attempted, I never even got close to that maximum. I have it set to clamp at 10, and I think the hardest throw I had was 6 or 7.
And it's probably metric, right?
It's tough to tell because Unity is unitless. So
But I think we've been treating things as meters.
yeah. So I think that would be, a magnitude of 6 being 6 meters per second. I don't know what that would be.
We should figure it out if we're gonna try and we want things to look and feel.
No, it
Real.
still did it. Object of type ball return has been destroyed, but you're still trying to access it.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's about right. Magnitude of 6 meters per second is about. Oh,
Wait, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
When you look at it in the log, you can see the call stack.
yeah.
Does that give you anything useful? Like, what's
I see debug end turn receiver, current turn player number is 1,
Uh-huh.
and then exception. Ball returns blah blah blah. If check if it's null, or you should not destroy the object.
Huh.
It's got to be something to do with the way, like, I mean, hold on.
Here's a question. Are you loading through the lobby?
Pardon me?
Are you loading through the lobby? Or are you loading
Yeah.
that? Yeah, okay.
So there's the spawn location, object of type ball return.
That's weird.
It's
'Cause
got to
you're
be the
literally-
script. It's the
You're
script.
literally on the object.
So I have the script. Maybe the script's got to be sitting in the right spot. It's sitting on the ball return prefab.
Right. So if the script is having that, if that event is getting hit by that script, the ball return must exist.
Yep.
Okay, just get it differently.
But this is saying like ball object type ball return, which is the script itself, I think. I don't know.
Oh. Object type ball return.
The bowling balls. What's yield return null?
That means when you're iterating on the thing,
Yeah.
it means go to the next iteration. Like, try this again next frame.
Okay. So enable disable next frame from coroutine. Next frame coroutine. Yield return null. And then enable disable grab interactable based on rules. That's happening in the script.
What script are you looking at?
This is the ball return script that I created.
And it's starting a coroutine?
Yeah, maybe it doesn't need to do that.
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think when the thing happens, you create a ball, right? Like,
Yeah.
the end.
That's probably the issue. I think I copied from somewhere or something like that. I copied from one of the other objects. Anyway, I'll take that out.
Wow, look at all this code. I just changed everything. What could go wrong?
Famous last words.
I took that coroutine out. Maybe that's what was causing the issue.
I mean, the bug that doesn't to me seem like.
I can test it. Actually,
All right, I'm ready for a victim.
oh shit.
So my change in throwing only seems to work local. It seems to be having some issues with real time now.
Of course.
But, I guess that's not unexpected. I just wasn't considering that it would be problematic.
It's not ideal.
No, not quite. Let me see what I can do with that, though.
I think Max might have to do the test because my headset just died.
Shoot.
Oh shit!
Well,
I just yanked
Yeah,
Max.
I don't mind helping.
so I have my thing on a different branch though, which is maybe a bit behind yours.
That's fine. I can switch branches.
Reasonably comfortable with that?
Yeah, the stuff I'm working on, I don't necessarily want to push until I know what's working in multiplayer anyways, so...
So you have it on its own branch where it's nice and safe and not going to get squished?
Let me do that.
Also, I'm starting to fade a little bit. But I want to see if this works.
Yeah. Oh, you want to see if my thing succeeds?
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, I have it on a new branch called ball velocity. Let me make my commit real quick. Okay, what branch are you on?
It is called Andrew Game On.
I can't even do anything until this stupid thing charges. We're right back and see if I can find the headset adapter.
Origin/Andrew Game On. There we go. We're just running through Windows, right?
Yeah. What's a lucky 4-digit number, Max?
I don't know. 69, 69.
Sounds very lucky.
uh,
Okay, that's our room number.
perfect.
Hey, I also remembered that I have to get my car to the dealership. So I'll check this test out, and then I gotta run that.
Okay, we'll test as fast as we can. Hopefully it's good news.
Fingers crossed.
Cool. I'm gonna mute myself on restream.
Okay. Which means
Okay, I just joined.
okay, I'm gonna put your game mic into my stream. Do-do-do-do. Okay, I see a rolling bowling ball.
Oh,
What
there you
the?
are. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have bowled.
I mean, let's see what happens. So, whose turn is it? What did it say? Still your turn? Oh, wait.
Next player turn 2.
But interestingly, I seem to be... Oh, you know what? Anyone can pick up this ball because it isn't owned by anyone. So... Hey, it looks like a game is happening, right?
Yeah, that's a good sign.
Okay, let's see what happens if we go to... Legacy Spooky or Western, maybe?
Let's go ahead and do Western.
Western it is. Why don't you go first, since you're player number 1. Alright. You're still player 1. I'm still player 2, so that's probably because we joined in the right order. I will do the thing of loading a level. And yeah, it doesn't do the pin reset yet, but it could, right? That same event.
Yeah. Might go to spawn a ball.
Yeah, I think so. Do-do. Alright, go for it. See what happens. I'm afraid to check the debug log, which would give us some info.
Hey,
Oh, it didn't say
player
anything about
2's turn.
Did
Because
it? It didn't say that for me. Let's see what happens. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's happening. I didn't get one of the pop-ups. I don't know why. The one saying it was my turn. But that is... Oh, you got a free turn and
Trail.
everything. I think the game is kind of
So I'm
working again.
curious, does that mean if you pick up the ball, could you go right now, or can you not even pick anything
I
up?
can't even pick up... I can't pick up mine, and I can't pick up yours.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's been working for a while, but until I broke everything.
Yep, says it's your turn. Are you getting the
yeah.
pop-ups still?
I'm getting them, yeah. There was just the one that said it was player 2's turn. Didn't seem to happen for me for reasons.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it looks like it's working. And I gotta split soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Just because my car is actually literally not driving properly, so I want to leave early because I have to call CAA.
Okay.
But
Yeah, you're good.
We got distracted by playing the game. We tested the thing.
thumbs up.
Thank you,
Glad it's
sir.
worked. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around and checking it out.
I'm glad it's working now. When I get back,
Me
hopefully my
too.
headset's gonna be charged again. I can test
I
it.
was ready to kill something last week.
I recall.
Gotta have those brain breaks.
The Andrew winning. But it was understandable. This was a frustrating one.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
See you.
Okay,
Thanks
see
for
you
the
later.
sesh.
Thank you. Bye.
One
I got
pin left.
9.
I didn't see that delivery, but it seems pretty successful.
I was standing pretty close to the pins.
I'm
So
so
it was-
close to like punching my mic that it's affecting my form.
Well, you know, we're not really
Yeah.
breaking a scoreboard.
It's hard to not play the game though. You know what I
It
mean?
is. Oh,
Oh.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's not fixed yet.
Oh,
That counts.
I'll take it.
Ooh, and you got a couple pins for me. That's how the game goes. If I had any more force, that would have been right in the right spot. Okay, I'm going to rebase this, and then create a pull request.
It's time to play frame 2.
Oh yeah. I mean, it'll count those pins for you too, whether or not you get them. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Glad to see it's working. Oh, the last thing that, if you want to test, would be if I'm player 1, you're player 2. If you join the level first and then me, does that break anything?
I think that's probably broken, to be honest. I mean, let's see. Because the associate, like, that, my script I have for, like, associating the client number to player number and reattaching and stuff like that, that stuff is not stable.
Got it.
That, you know, that was the thing I was supposed to be working on. And then we're like, oh, we should have a game start event. But we could see what happens. Because what I had it do was, starts the person who is first into the room starts the game. So you could be like player number 3, and
But you could still be going first.
you go in the room first, and it would be like, it would start the game, and it would be, it's player number 1's turn. And then you couldn't do anything until player number 1 showed up, is I think what would happen. And then that's a little bit weird, because player number 1 would be arriving after their ball spawn event. So I think that would be problematic.
So
It's an interesting one. Maybe we have to wait for player number 1 to log into the scene, and then start the game.
Well, it could also be a case of, I mean, we talked about having everybody join at the same time anyways.
Yeah, but
So
even then,
when-
there's no guarantee of the load order.
Yeah, but you could force the load order, right? If one person clicks on, oh, join Western, you could ensure that player 1 joins first, and then player 2, and then player 3.
Yeah, you're right.
Or try and reset the order. I don't know if that would be harder. That might be more difficult. You know, so if I'm player 2 and I join the level, I become player 1. And then when you join the level, you become player 2. Because you entered the room second.
Yeah.
Just
And, yeah,
thinking out loud. We
yeah,
can always try
and-
some stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, because you know, there is this, like, there's always this order of operations, right? That isn't important until you think of it. And that, yeah, if the first person in starts the game, then the player 1 isn't necessarily getting that game start event.
Are you good to move back to your stream?
Yeah.
Okay, see you there.
Okay, cool. I had a subtle
So good
echoing.
point. That. Oh, because you probably had my game, which would have your voice.
Yeah, it's fine though. I don't mind too much.
I shared the voice for Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah. My bad.
But yeah, so I see that the couple ways to do that would be force everybody joining a room or a scene in a specific order. And when I say at the same time, not literally, but like, if we're players 1, 2, and 3, and you click join Western, it puts us all into a loading queue and then loads 1 and then 2 and then 3. Or the reverse would be don't care about the player order from one room to the next, just care about the order that they enter the next room in. So if you click on Western first, you'll be player 1 regardless of what your previous player number was. And then the second person to join would be player 2, and then so on and so forth. I think either one of those would work just fine. A lot of it just depends on, do we want to ensure that everybody is joining the same room? Because if you clicked on Western and I misclicked and I accidentally click on Spooky, well, now we're in a weird situation where we should be in the same room, but we're not. Obviously, we wouldn't technically be in the same room because that room code gets appended and changes, but we could be confused as to why we're not seeing each other. So it might be easier to just say like, oh, when one person in the room tries to join a new scene, put everybody into like a load queue and do them sequentially. Again, I'm saying this without knowledge of exactly how the loading looks like on your end. So if you have any insight.
So it basically, most of the time that would work really well. If it's like, the problem is there is a multiplayer sync thing, right? Whereas if two people click different rooms, the game is going to be like, either start loading the room and tell everyone else which room it is, or send which room we should load, and then wait for that event to load the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess
They-
once someone clicks on a room, I guess the two ways I would go about that is either only allow player 1 to select the room, kind of like the host of whoever it is the
Yeah.
one that gets to choose,
Yeah.
or as soon as someone clicks on a scene to travel to, you disable the menu buttons for
But
everybody.
I everything you say relies on the having a reliable who clicked first. You know what I mean? Because still, like, it's like, oh, by the way, we should disable all the menu buttons because someone clicked the thing, right? If that, anyway,
Yeah, if we're both
it's
trying to
probably
click it like, at
reasonably
the same
rare.
time,
Yeah, it's probably reasonably rare, but
still a good edge case to think about.
yeah,
That makes me think make it only a host choice.
that is the easiest fix, right?
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Client number 0 can click the buttons.
Yeah. If I'm anything other than player 1, I don't get to choose. And
Yeah.
I feel like, isn't that how Walkabout works currently? Like,
I'm not sure. But it's definitely how Phasmophobia works. Like the person who created the room is the king of the room.
yeah, I feel like that's very classic for multiplayer stuff. Like, that would not be weird to anybody to have that be the thing. I'm choosing the room code, I'm generating a room code, whatever it is, therefore I'm host. So I get the final say. We could always implement further things about, oh, maybe everyone else can click on the scenes they want and it puts their little like icon next to it to show almost like a voting system. but in the end, the host still is the final decider. There's ways to tackle that, but at least for now, I think it's easiest to just say, like, host is king. They get to make all the decisions.
So here's a weird thing. So uh, host is king. They're the only one who can click which scene to load. They're not necessarily going to be the first person who loads in. They probably are, but not necessarily, right?
Yeah,
Player 2 could load first, and then they're client 0, and then they're the new king.
so that would be like, that situation would happen if we decided on a room code beforehand. This time we said 6969. We both go in, we both type in that number. Even though we claim that you were the host, if I click enter before you do,
Yeah.
I then join or
Yeah.
if mine loads
But
quicker than yours,
so I think
I become
I
host.
don't know how common this would be, but I think every time we change scenes, even if it's like only the host can change scenes, there's a possibility that the host would change, because someone else's device could load faster, and and connect to real time faster, and they just end up being avatar 0, right? So I think for now that's probably okay. But
Yeah, especially for the time being, we can just be sure that it's like, oh, if you're the host, you definitely need to click, and we'll just wait until you're loaded, and then everybody else can click through. In the future, that might be able to change as we get closer to release, about like ensuring that just regardless of what
well,
that ends up looking like.
I think we'll have, the thing that I almost had working, which is like just a rack of who's who's in the game, like what their client ID is and what their player number is. If we have that, we can keep that from level to level, right? And
Yeah,
then
so even
and
if
do
that
those things
order would
of
change, once everybody's in that level, you can reorder them based on that previous knowledge.
yeah, and we can put things in there like a heartbeat. So like, if we haven't heard from this person in 5 seconds, then we need to reassign the host because they've dropped that. Be able to handle that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was gonna spend a bit of time on that now because like we had the thing, it was just kind of sketchy,
Mhm.
and it was I think too attached to the client ID.
Yeah.
We could go either way. We could either like just have it basically be the client ID, which would be really quite reliable. Although leaving and rejoining wouldn't be that reliable. Anyway, yes. So this isn't like finished, I guess. Unless, because right now player 1 has to join the new levels first in order for the ball return event to happen properly.
Yeah. Which for now should be fine. But as you said, that's something to include in future pushes.
Yeah. So yeah, we should probably have a scrum tomorrow if we can. And then
Yeah.
I am around tomorrow evening. I mean, that's a lot of bully for 1 week.
Well, it's not too bad. I was at least feeling lazier this week. Maybe not lazy is the right word, but we didn't really do any stand-ups Monday, Tuesday, so I don't mind a little extra work.
I was a little burnt out on bully ball.
Yeah, and that's fine. You need that kind of break to be able to get back to productive. Looking at my schedule, I should be good for stand-up. I'm not busy until like 10:30 my time, and then I should be done at around 3:30 with meetings and stuff. So that's 5:30 your time. So I can definitely do at least a little bit in the afternoon, even if it's just like a couple hours. Yeah, because I'd love to get this velocity, like the throwing, working. It's real close. I just haven't touched on the real-time side of it. So I'm probably missing something small about like, okay, I'm updating the velocity, I'm updating the magnitude. I just have to ensure that that's being pushed on the real-time side and not just local. I don't think that'll be an issue. It's just a matter of finding the right place to put it all.
It is a little bit weird because the grabber does things with physics, right?
Well, and that's part of the
And
problem is
ownership.
I turned off, to get this working, I had to turn off throw on detach. So usually it would handle the throwing
Ownership.
all through the XR grab interactable.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if on release, since that's no longer hooked into the same scripts it was before, it's not necessarily knowing that I am moving it. I'm also wondering the real-time kind of objects that track it, if the ball either is or is not kinematic, if that affects it. Because I am currently turning whether the ball is kinematic on or off based on whether you've picked it up or not. And I might need to rework that if that is affecting the real-time stuff. Which wouldn't surprise me. I feel like I remember something about like the real-time doesn't work, either doesn't work with kinematic objects or doesn't work on non-kinematic objects. It was one or the other, but I'll have to check to be sure.
You probably want to request ownership of the real-time transform.
Yes.
But maybe not.
Oh, there. Yeah, the rigid body settings is send velocity. I might have to switch that to derive velocity from position.
Well,
Yeah, I'll have to check on that. If that's the case, and if we're going to do a little bit more work tomorrow, I might tap out now so I can go do dinner and before I get too burnt out.
I was going to say I need to eat as well. But that's the kind of thing that's very hard to test on your own.
Yeah. Well,
So-
the good news is when I tested it a little earlier, I knew right away that it wasn't working because I'd go to throw the ball and it would just instantly drop to the ground.
Mm.
As opposed to locally where it felt nice
Everything's
and buttery
fine,
smooth and
and
everything was working.
then you go to
Yeah.
test it and with someone else, and it's like, oh no, it doesn't support
Yeah.
multiplayer.
So if I join a room, even if I'm the only one in the room, I should know pretty much right away whether the ball is behaving or not. At least 90% of the way. It could always break if someone else joins the room, of course, but that feels pretty straightforward in terms of testing. So I'll keep that in mind. I'm going to jot down a couple notes so I don't forget where I was at. And then when I join tomorrow, I should be able to, fingers crossed, finish that side of things up. And then that would get rid of the super throw. And it also
be
allows
awesome.
us a little bit more control in terms of, I don't know, if you pick up a power up or something that lets you throw extra hard,
We can
we can
customize
modify
it.
that directly as opposed to relying on the XR grab interactable to do that for us. So
Yeah. I mean, the black box stuff is so nice when it works.
yes. And that's the thing. For the most part, it has worked. And as soon as we run into something that doesn't work for us, that's when we change it up. But if we don't
But
gotta
the thing
change
is, it does a bunch of things, right? So then then we have to like do a bunch of things.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So
Before you go, actually, I can just approve this same pull request. Is now an okay time for me to put this in, pull this to main, or should I wait?
yes. New. Yeah, the only thing I changed that would maybe be touched is the bowling ball prefab, but I don't think you
Yeah,
touched that.
this is
so.
2 files.
Okay. Yeah, you're
Two-
good. Now's a good time. then.
2.cs's. Okay.
I can't confirm it with Wade, but I think that should be
I think
okay.
he also did not touch these. And the nice thing is, nice thing about the .cs's is it's easy to figure out what changed. Like you can do like a little 3-way merge.
Mhm. Okay, well, I think I'm all good. Do you need anything else before I drop?
Nope.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Let me make sure I move things over. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I will talk to you tomorrow.
Till then, and goodbye, chat.
Goodbye,
You've been so quiet
stream.
today.
Okay, see you later.
See you.